everybody, my name is Larsen. In this video I want to talk about passing chords, and I want to focus on the diatonic passing chords. So I'm going to use the passing chords that you're going to find in the scale where the main chords that you're actually playing is already present. And those are really easy to access, and they're just a great way to add some different colors and extra movement to your chord progressions and your comping, just like I did in the intro to this video. If you want to learn more about jazz guitar, about improvising over chord changes, checking out some interesting arpeggios or chord voicings, then subscribe to my channel. If you want to make sure not to miss anything, then click the little bell notification icon next to the subscribe button. What I'm going to do in this video is I'm just going to take a really basic 1-6-2-5 progression in the key of C major, so C, A minor, D minor, G7, and then I'm just going to embellish that with different diatonic passing chords. We have this progression as the 1-6-2-5, and then really the only other thing you need to know is what diatonic chords you have available when you're in the key of C major. So that would be C major, D minor, E minor, F major 7, G7, A minor 7, B half diminished, and C major 7. The idea for this video is actually coming out of some questions that I got on the video that I published last week on using passing chords in your solo lines. Because you can use this when you're comping, like I'm doing it in this video, but you can also use it to just generate some different movement with arpeggios when you're improvising. And the question was whether there was some theory behind this and how that works. And really there's not too much theory, and I think the way you want to approach this is really just to try and play the chords like I'm doing here, and in that way you can also start adding similar things to your comping and certainly also to your solo lines. If we look at the first two chords in the progression, C major 7 and A minor 7, then when I'm moving from C to A, I can just add some chords in between, and of course the obvious candidate is the one that's sort of stepwise in between, so that would be C major, B half diminished, and then A minor. And really that's all we're going to be doing here. So we're just looking at different ways to get to the other chord, and the point of the passing chords is that they're just going to lead us into the next chord. And you still want to hear the original progression somewhere. So if I play, then that still sounds like, because the passing chord is put on the weaker beat in the bar, and in that way it's there and it's a nice addition, but it's not as important as the one that's on the heavy beat, which is in this case the A minor. So we have that one that's worth mentioning because it you will come across it in jazz and you can use it, is to use this triad inversion, which is a G over B. So you get this progression, which is nice to have as well. We can of course also approach the A minor from below, so we go from C and then G7 up to A minor. Another option is to go stepwise towards the A minor. So what I'm doing is I'm starting again on my C, and then I'm going to skip down to F, and then up to G, and then up to A. So that's this progression. The same type of thinking, but then applied to the change from A minor to D minor, could be something like this. So we have the A minor, and then we want to end on the D minor. Well, we can add chords in between, so let's try and use the chord below the D minor as a diatonic leading chord. So that's A minor, C major to D minor. And in the context of the whole progression, that would sound like this. So you can again hear that the A minor and the C major 7 sound so similar that you can easily add that chord in there and it's not going to do any harm. It's probably going to fit with whatever is in the melody or whatever the soloist is playing if you're comping somebody. Of course we can also do sort of a complete walk up, so we're going to go from C to A and then walk up the chords, so B half diminished, C major to D minor. That sounds like this. And another option is to go not from below but from above. So we're going to go from C to A minor and then skip up to E minor and then down to D minor. So that would be this. And if we add one more chord to that, then we have sort of a stepwise movement down to the D minor. That sounds like this. moving from D minor to G7, we of course also have a few different options. And actually with the D minor to G7, some of the options are so strong that we can even use them to just sort of push the G7 a bit back and put something else and put one of the passing chords on the heavy beat instead of the G7. So the first option would probably just be to look at, well, we have a D minor and we're going to G7, so let's just add the one that's a whole step under the G7, and that's the F major 7, so that means that we get this. And of course we can also do that stepwise, so we're going to be moving from D minor and then E, F up to G. So, and here with the F major 7, because it's pretty much sort of one strong sound, and the F major and the G7 sound kind of similar, the F major is like a G sus, then we can actually put the F major on the middle of the bar instead of the G7. Then we get, and it's still gonna make sense in the context. Of course, we can also walk the other way with the passing chords and make a descending line from D to G. That would be something like this. It's completely the same when you're going from G7 to C. You can just start adding the same types of passing chords, taking out of the scale. But I'm just going to go over two quick examples so you have an idea about what's happening here. So we have the G minor, and then G7, A minor, B half diminished to C major 7. That will work as well. And the way you want to put that in the rhythm, so the G7 and the B half diminished will probably pretty much sound like G7, both of them. So you want to have those on the heavy beats, and you want to have the A minor in between. So that means you probably want to go like this type of rhythm, where this is on the beat, this is off the beat, and this is on the beat. And a similar idea is of course also just to walk all the way down from G to C. So that would be G, F, E, D, and then down to C. And that could be something like this. So that's a simple introduction to passing chords, and also just some examples of how you really find them. And I think it's really just about sitting down, playing through like a simple progression like this, maybe just a 2-5-1 or a 1-6-2-5, and then trying to add different chords and see if you can come up with something that you think makes sense. Try and play it as chords. I think that's really just the best way to check if it works. And in that way, see if you can also maybe move it into your soloing. These questions that I'm answering now came out of a video on soloing. Really, it's easier to just think of this from a comping perspective. And I think also this idea of using the diatonic passing chords is something that you really do want to have in your vocabulary, especially if you're playing in a duo setting behind a horn player or a singer, just to be able to add different colors and a little bit more variation, because having more chords to play and not having to sort of come up with inversions of the same chord, which in that setting is not easy to get to sound really good, then the passing chords is a really, really useful and really powerful tool. If you have a way that you're using passing chords and it's something that I didn't talk about in this video, then please leave a comment. In my videos there are usually really interesting things happening in the comments, so it's worthwhile checking if you want to see some more info on the topics that I discuss in the video, because usually there's some useful things happening there, and I learn a lot from it as well, so it's worthwhile checking out. If you want to learn more about jazz guitar and this is the first time you see one of my videos, then subscribe to my channel. The videos that I publish here every week are on finding some solid methods and good strategies to explore all the great things about jazz guitar and improvisation. If you like this video and you want to help me keep making videos, then check out my Patreon page. It's because of the support that I'm getting from my patrons that I can keep on publishing videos every week. I'm very grateful for that, and if you join us over on Patreon, I can also give you something in return for your support. That's about it for this week. Thank you for watching, and until next week.